What's up, Space Cadets?
This is the
Next Gen Revolution Podcast.
And welcome to the motherfucking future.
Now percent.
Welcome, Space Cadets. Welcome back to another episode of the Next Gen Revolution Podcast. I'm here with KB and
What's
Mo.
up, Wild Tigers?
What's up, boys?
Connecting greatness.
That's what's up. And we got a special episode today, guys. We are starting a new growth series. So we're going to be focusing on kind of like some themes for a couple months, and we're going to bring some people on and kind of go in deep onto some good topics. So this first 3 months, 12 episodes, we're going to be doing growth, and we're going to bring on a lot of very interesting characters. And if you guys want to, reach out to us and hop on our podcast, please do. So let's jump right into it.
All right.
Why KB would you choose growth? Why? It's pretty clear. Okay, you don't want to grow. You don't want to not grow. But why else would you want to grow? Other than the blatant fact of it's not standing still.
Well, my reason for growth was because I hated my life at the time. That's literally why. Like, I could have been the same old for whoever. I could have been like, oh, I'm going to eat McDonald's every day, and I'm going to not work out every day, and I'm just going to sit here and play my games and think about what life could be like. But no, I literally was like in the shower crying, be like, I hate my life. I don't have any friends really. I'm not comfortable with who I am. I got to change. I got to become something better. So I decided to grow beyond what I was already. So I decided to read books, decided to work out, decided to go out and meet people. Literally my life changed in the next couple of days. I went from that kid who never talked to anybody in school except studying so I can go home and play games to I literally went to stole someone's seat, sat there, started talking to whoever was around me, and and even the teacher was like, what are you doing over there? And he was like, whatever, you do whatever you want. And I was like, this is so weird. I was like, all right. So then I just started being at...
What grade was this? How old were you?
12th grade. This was...
Senior year in high school?
No. Well, when I did that was this 12th grade? Because I had...
But you're talking about later half of high school.
It was either the end of 11th grade is when I completely made the switch, and then 12th grade is when the story happened. I'm pretty sure that's...
Okay.
Damn, why you really start forgetting things?
Coming into your senior year, you literally thought about was there a specific day that you were sitting there and something happened that made you think, damn, I can't stay where I'm at. I need to push through.
Or
was it just kind of one day it just clicked and you're like, I can't just keep telling myself to do this. I need to actually go out there and do this.
I remember the day when I completely became a mind shift, when I was just I am not this person anymore. I have to change. But as in one was what started it.
I'm talking about.
Okay, yes, I remember that day. I remember going into the shower, crying about shit. I think I punched it. I was like, I can't be like this anymore. And I literally just
damn.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but before that, I guess it was just events. Being I just didn't feel comfortable with who I was. Started watching videos that started expanding my mind. I was like, why am I this way when I could be that person? And I've kind of I slowly started seeing things, and even at that time, I think I had someone in my life, and I started working really hard. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be this person. I'm gonna do this for this person, and this person was just you just haven't really been here. You've been working hard, but this really isn't gonna work. And I was like, so I worked all this hard for this, and so I started questioning a lot of things. So then that's when it led me to a point where I was just I don't know if I want to be what my parents told me I wanted to be, or my teachers told me I want to be. Maybe I just want to be something else. So I actually stopped caring about grades. This was near the end of 11th grade. I was just I'm not going to care about grades. I'm just going to care about learning. I'm not going to care about being an engineer. I'm going to care about finding what I love about my life. And so that's when it started down eating right, working out. And I wanted to be a chef at the time. So I was okay, this is what I want to do. And then I started studying a lot with books, not with school stuff. So my mom got upset when my grades started going down. So she grounded me from reading. She's like, you can play games, you can hang out with your friends, you just can't read. And I was like, what is happening right now?
I mean, school's important, but that's
reading?
Yeah, because she was like, well, this is what you enjoy. And I was
I
like, get that, but I don't at the same time. 'Cause I'm trying to expand myself and try to figure things out, and I
Bro,
was like,
you
all
gotta be
right,
a pretty big nerd to get grounded from books.
right?
Like, how much were you reading? Like 4 or 5 hours a day? Didn't do your homework,
Yeah, it's
nothing?
pretty. I was either reading or like I was trying to learn Spanish. So I'd be Skyping with people online to learn Spanish, and I even tried to ask her to speak Spanish to me. And at one point, she was like, "We're not doing this anymore until you get grades up. I'm not going to talk to you in Spanish. I'm not going to." And I was like, "What? I'm trying to like grow, and you're pushing me down. You're trying to keep me the same that I've always been. And I don't want that. I want to expand and be something different." So I had a
Yeah.
lot of fights. I thought about running away. Decided not to. My mom disowned me for a little bit. Then our relationship kind of got back together, and then I started doing a little bit better in school. But after that point, I was like, I'll do good in school, but like it's not my main thing. Everything else beyond it is. So then I started. Every time I go to school, I'd kill my stuff that I could at the class, and then go home and like do jujitsu, study, cook, or exercise. Just expand my horizons beyond what school was.
And before that, before you made the switch, you weren't like that at all. Like you were not an outgoing person. You weren't
No,
going out there and chasing after learning different things at all. Like it
no,
was
I
just,
would avoid it actually. Anybody say you want to go out, I'll be like, no. Anybody be like, you want
what
to
would
read?
you do instead? What did you do?
I just sat around
Sat at
and
home?
watched movies, watched porn, played video games. I did. So the weird thing is like I did have like a friend group, and I was kind of the person I am right now in my like online friend like
Mhm.
PlayStation world. I was like outgoing with them. They were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, KB's here. He's the best." Well, I was also really good at the games because that's all I did. So they were like, "Oh, look at him. He's got like 100 kills. KB's here, guys." And I was like, "What's up?" And I was a little bit outgoing there, but beyond that, like at school is not comfortable. I
Yeah.
always wanted to just leave
That's
school and
where
go
you
back
felt
to my
comfortable was
yeah.
was on the game and like watching TV and stuff.
Yeah. And I guess I pushed myself with like prestiging, but that's like the only growth I ever did in that stage of my life. I never really worked out, and if I worked out, it was like one day I'd grab like a bench, some weights, and I'd be like, "All right, let's do this," and then it's like, "All right, cool, I'm done."
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna
hated
go back and
working
play
out.
video games.
Yeah, I hated working out. I would sneak food. I used to have like 5 or 6 meals a day. I was so fat. I would just be eating like cookies all day. I was like, "Give me the cookies. Let's go." Yeah, I was a mess. It was it was
So
crazy.
you just sat down and took a hard look at your life and said, I don't have to live this way.
Yeah,
I'm not becoming the person that I want to be.
exactly. Yeah, I was just like, I don't like where I'm going, and I don't want to keep going that way. And
Okay.
so, yeah, that's
Stuff, man. That's pretty intense. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. Most people think like
I didn't know it was such a drastic switch.
yeah, because most people are like, you don't come off as shy, and I'll be like, when people say that, that's when I have to bring out the whole story. I'm like, you don't think I'm shy? I was literally the shyest person. I couldn't even go buy food. I'd be afraid to go like, hey, here's $1 for soda. I was so shy that this person was like, if you get this soda, it's buy one get one free. And I was like, I don't want the soda. Leave me alone. Just give me what I asked and let me go. And they kept fighting me. They were like, don't you want this free soda? And I was like, I don't know what you like. Stop. Like, let me. I was so anxious and uncomfortable. I was just like, give me what I asked for and let me leave because I thought they were probably scamming me or something. Because I was just too uncomfortable to like comprehend what was
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
And then I went back and mom was like, you could have got the extra soda. I was like, doesn't matter. I'm like, here's your soda. Like, but yeah, that was literally me when I was younger. That's why when people say stuff like, oh wow, I thought you were always confident. I'm like, no, I'll take you back 10 years. I'll show you what I used to be. But yeah.
Damn. All right. Well, damn. Moses, I'm gonna hop over to you now, bro.
Okay. So
I know you've been kind of like I look up to you in a lot of ways, my man. So I'm
Really?
very interested
that's
to hear.
humbling. Mason, we do have that rapport. And I really appreciate that. Like that really
So like, tell me a little bit about like, were you ever a shy little nerd who got grounded from books?
I didn't get grounded for books. Absolutely not. I actually got grounded for stuff like I was super sensitive. So if you yelled at me, like I would like start crying. I would get in trouble for crying because I was super empathic. Like I feel people's energy so much. Like and I had to learn how to exist in this world where I can feel people so much, And so like it's like when my mom was mad, it wasn't because she was mad at me and screaming at me. It's because I can felt the energy and emotion, the emotion of what she was saying. And I was like, I don't want to disappoint her. And so I was really in that stage of trying to make everybody like or agree with what I was doing. So I was trying to appease people because I didn't want their emotions to incite me because I was feeling it so much. So I started to
And how
condition.
old were you when you started realizing that you were like really sensitive to emotions and like this energy? How old
Oh,
were you?
I think I was really young. I really can't tell your age because I feel like I was always like,
Oh, so it's kind of
I
just
felt,
like natural. You've
I,
been living with it
yeah,
forever.
well, because I would tell like my brother, I would tell like people, my friends and stuff, like I just didn't feel like I was from here. Like,
What?
We're
I felt
just
like I
aliens.
was just plucked out of my home
You and
and
Elon Musk.
smacked here. And then I was like, oh, what the fuck is this place? Like, these people are crazy. Like, why are
Yeah,
so many people haywire? And then so
I can imagine.
I started to choose growth because I realized like if I was going to exist in this world, I was gonna have to grow regardless. Because life is gonna push you to grow. Because this is what you're here for, to grow. And so I realized that was I gonna grow voluntarily or involuntarily? And which was,
Ooh,
and I
that's
realized that and I would speak to myself, and when I say myself, I say like I feel like myself is like my higher self, and so that the part of me that's always aware of everything, always listening, and so I'm always talking to that part of myself, and I was like, I'm not going to force anything because I know that if I'm not in the flow, going against the grain is going to be harder for me. So I was like, let's voluntarily choose growth. Okay, so if I'm going to choose growth, now why? What direction am I going to take my life and why? And it became important to me to choose growth because I was tired of people defining my me to me,
Mhm.
telling me who I was supposed to be and how I was supposed to live my life. And I was just like, no, I really can't do that. Like it's
Yeah, like
not
I
it doesn't
appreciate the
sit well.
guidance, but it's my
Well,
life. Like, come on.
yeah. And so, well, I appreciate like it was more of a control. It was like my way or the highway type of things. Like
Mhm.
you need to do this, and if you didn't do it, I'm upset with you. And now it's like the fact that you're upset with me, I'm supposed to like do a 180 and then end up doing what you want me to do. And then I realized like people hold you emotionally hostage. And I realized I don't want to be emotionally hostage anymore. I want to be free to think for myself, to act for myself, and to project and express from a place of authenticity. But if I'm walking around doing what everyone else expects me to do, I'm
Mhm.
a copy, not an original. And so I realized I wanted to be original. So to do,
Wow.
in order for me to do that, like I think I had to progress through this phase of everyone not satisfied with the choices I was making. And so I had to endure even my own mom talking about me and things like that. But it pushed me to realize that people are easier. The world around you wants you to go with them
Mhm.
because when you go with them, it's easier to control you. So
Yeah,
I have to ask myself, where am I going? What am I doing? And why did I come to be here?
yeah.
What purpose was and what imprint did I want to leave in life? And
You
so
know,
now I started realizing what was my legacy going to be?
Mhm.
What would they say when Moses leaves this place? What would they say about him? You know? And so I realized that that's the only power I really have of my own choice. And so to choose growth meant
Power.
to
Yeah, I
choose,
mean, in the end, that's it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, for me to choose growth was to choose to voluntarily be the author of my own destiny.
Okay.
And yeah,
And not
and
let anybody or anything try to
not
stray or even have any
anything.
inkling of control on your life.
Even right. And so I realized that me and life was doing this dance, right? And I realized this when I was in college. I got like super, super duper duper sick my sophomore year, and I ended up having to medically withdraw from my classes. And I started to realize this is where I really realized that the emotional chain that was holding me to
Mhm.
everything around me, and that it was creating barriers within and causing disease, aka disease in the body. So I started to connect, and that's how I progressed to where I am now. I went through the struggle of I used to have scars under my arm where my like lymph nodes explode. You can't really see them anymore because I use cocoa butter, but my lymph nodes explode and everything. And I was like sick, and my friends started to think it was a joke. Like he's always sick. And like it was funny to them, but for me, I was not laughing. And and I started to,
The way
and I
you said
started
that.
to like, I started to like ask myself like, okay, why am I going through this, and what can I learn from this? And when I
Right.
started asking, what can I learn, and it brought back the kid in me because I was always asking questions, but there was a adult who told me, hey, you asked too many questions. You only get 3 today. Don't ask no more. So it started to make me stop expressing and stop asking the why. So I had to go. So what really happened and made me break through was I was in my room, and this was 2017. I walked in, and I was living in Tampa and the Carrollwood area, and I walked into my room.
This is
and
after
I was
this is
like,
after you dropped out.
huh? No, no, no. This
You-
is later in my life. I was
Okay.
21. This is when I chose to. I'm going to tell the story. So I was
Okay.
in my room, and I decided to walk into my closet, and I just closed the door in my closet, and I turned off the lights, and I was just sitting there, and I remember feeling like, if I don't release all of this, I'm going to explode. And so I was in my room, and I just started crying in the closet. Like it just came out like, and then I just felt like someone put their hand on my shoulder. And when I was like sitting there, I was like, it felt like Moses, like little Moses. And I was like, and was telling me, okay, you're fine. We got to this point. I'm still here with you. I'm not hurt. I'm fine. You can go forward. You don't have to keep living in the sadness, the pain, the regret, the shame, the guilt. You don't have to live in all that. You only have to live in the perceptions of other people's or the opinions of other people's. And it was like my younger self who experienced all that trauma was coming back to tell me right here, right now, like, hey, I survived it. And you don't have to hold on to it anymore. You can let it go. We've progressed through it. And so I realized that growth is a daily progression. And in order for me to grow, I would need to exercise the different facets of my energy and my body. It's like my mental body, my emotional body, my physical body. Thus, it all comes down to my soul energetic body, that's where everything's coming from, my consciousness.
Yeah.
So when I started realizing that, like I realized that, like I said, I was in a dance with life, and life was showing me not only who I am, but who I can be. And so if only I chose to be, so it's not who do you be and who do you choose to be. And so that's how I chose
And
growth.
that's your choice. It really is.
So that's how I chose growth, and I'm choosing it every day to keep walking in little steps towards authoring my own destiny and fulfilling my own vision for myself,
And that's
So
that's what growth is, right?
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
fulfilling
So what about you,
the
man?
life that you want to live.
Right.
Not others get in the way. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, obviously we're on a similar topic, but both of you guys' stories kind of tie right in with each other. Yours is on a
Isn't that
more
interesting?
emotional level that triggered it, but KB, same thing. It reached a
They're
point
both
where he just
emotional.
broke, and he's like, I can either choose to live in this, or
Actually,
I
there was also a video I watched. So I remember it was also the same. It's called Human Culture by Alan Watts, and it's kind of like a grim video, but it talks about.
That's
Yeah, I love Alan Watts too. After that day, I started watching all of Alan Watts' stuff.
you
But
have to.
he talked about human culture where it's like everybody kind of just like goes through these same motions every single day, and then they go through the grades, and then they get to a job where they're supposedly supposed to make money so that they can fully live their life, and then they go home instead of like enjoying life, they go home to watch a reproduction of life on TV. And that to me felt the same way as like watching a movie or playing a game. So I was like, I'm literally doing what he's saying, and I was like, there is more to life than just these games. There's more to life than what I've been doing for the last like 17 years. And so then I just was like, let me go explore. That's why I have such a like urge to go and travel. That's why it's my favorite thing in the world, because it's literally what I wanted to do that day when I decided to grow. I was like, I want to go see the world. And so now when I go see the world, I'm like, I'm literally fulfilling my dream I had in that day when I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to break free. So yeah, that's that video though. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Human culture needs to be more than just like jobs and then traffic and then go home and just watch TV until you fall asleep and then repeat. I was like, no, there's got to be more. There's got to be something. So yeah.
Moses, you're gonna say something?
Oh, I was gonna say, speaking of traveling and stuff like that, when I did go travel, so KB and we both did a trip together. And when I was traveling, I realized something, how emotions rule your mind and things like that. Like you always want to respond to the emotion. But I realized that I can witness the emotion and that you would never leave your problems because they go with you, right? And so I'm on the other side of the world, and it's profound because we were on the ferry to go to Crete, and I remember sitting at the sunset and talking to myself, and I'm like, I'm in like one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Like, why can I open up enough to fully enjoy it? Like, what's holding me back? And so I realized it was all this emotional baggage I was just dragging behind me. So because I was so tuned to seeing the baggage, I couldn't see what was out in front of me. And so I couldn't fully enjoy it because I was always stuck in my mind trying to make sure.
That.
Yeah. And I remember
you were asleep all the time, bro. All my friends were like, "Where's Moses?" I'm like, "He's sleeping." I don't know. You slept so much in that trip. At least the first half.
Yeah, I really did. I had to sleep because it was a lot going on in my life at the time. Like, it was so, like, as I start to tell my story, which I am, like, it was so much going on in my life. And so I really had to, like, I was going through a metamorphosis, but I didn't know it at the time. And so it was my moment to be in the wilderness. And KB randomly caught me dancing in the desert, like, because it has always been my dream to like do stuff like this. And so I was just dancing in the desert, letting go. And I was like really just embracing the fact that like I could be free and living life. And that freedom was coming from a choice to not let my emotions, the energy emotions, whether that be people's thoughts, other people's projections, the ideas in society, because you have to realize that everyone has an idea, and we're all existing in this world where ideas are alive, thoughts are alive because they become beliefs and actions, and you act on them. It becomes feelings. Like it's all a thing, right? Yeah. So if you're not aware and attuned innerly, you would take someone else's projection towards you and think it as your own. So there's a difference between emotion, energy, emotion, and feeling. Feeling is something I'm producing. Emotion is something I'm aware of. And so as I realized that energy, emotion, thoughts being projected and things like that, or me projecting my own feelings, I realized that I can come sit into the seat of my power, as in I can give things value. So when I'm aware of an object in my mind or a thought or something like that, if I know it doesn't align to my vision and how I see myself, this is why you got to know who you be. Once you know who you be, you realize that if this doesn't align with you, you don't give it any value. Like, fuck it, next.
Yeah.
Next. So I'm saying next all day long in my mind. Like when thoughts come, next.
It's almost like you're taking the system that trades its energy around and kind of just swirls, and you go, no, I'm gonna direct this here, and then I'm gonna output what I want.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna watch the whole thing from above like an absolute god.
Oh my goodness!
But you know what I mean, like having that third perspective and just watching this all happen and intervening and taking control where you want to, and then the rest just not letting it affect the other decisions that you could be making.
Yeah, because you realize
it's so important, right?
You're not those things. So half the time it's just the chatter of the mind, and you get caught up in that, you know. So a major part of that trip, I realized that I was too caught up in the chatter of my mind, and it was like draining me so much. And so I had to realize, like, I had to start letting people go. I was like, you know what, Dad, I'll let you go. Mama, I'll let you go. Like, I was like letting everybody go. I was like, friend that I fought in 5th grade, I let you go. I'm sorry I stole that candy bar, I let it go. Like all the guilt. I was like
that's a big part of growing is letting go.
I had to like forgive myself because it would start like penetrating all the areas of your life. So you realize that if you hold on to things, it blocks your energy. So if the energy is not flowing out, it's flowing in a circle. So it stays in there so that can get through. But if it's flowing out, it's flowing like a river. So it can keep going, you know?
Chakras are open.
If it gets caught up in the cycle, it won't come out unless you choose to release it. And so that's the whole point of being self-aware and choosing growth or something like that. You choose to be aware of your mental faculties and realizing that I can choose what I accept to be true for me. And that was like the pivotal moment in my life. And so I started to realize like, oh, I can enjoy life and I can enjoy all of this. So yeah, that's something that trip taught me.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you carry your baggage with you. I'm in the best part of the world. And I'm like, why are you mad, bro? I was like, why are you mad? Like, you are living a great life. And this is the second time I traveled. Like I've been to Italy before. So I was trying to figure out like I've had great opportunities. So why aren't the opportunities giving me happiness? And so I realized because I should not be placing my internal happiness level or how I can generate feelings on external things because I can easily start to make myself feel good. Like I can just be like, ooh, and that's energy because I just did it. I created it and I feel it, you know? So you get to start choosing. And that's the freedom. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to like explain it any more than that. As in, you get to choose how to feel. Like, even if KB started yelling at me right now and things, I can try to defend myself. But why? Because if I was going to defend myself based on what he's saying, it is me trying to say that what he's saying to me defines me, and it doesn't. So I can just hear him out and let him just say whatever without having to explode and things like that. Because I realize his words aren't me. I'm just witnessing them. And it's the same thing with thoughts. It goes like that. So as you choose a thought to be true for you, and then now you start to believe that thought, and then you act on that thought. And it goes, you act on you feel it.
Cycle.
Yeah, it is the cycle. Thought, believing, feeling, action. Because if you don't feel it, you're not going to act on it. So now when you realize that's how things starts to happen, the cycle of things in your life, you're like, okay, let me be careful how I'm thinking. I call it the inner garden. Like you got to maintain your inner garden, right?
Well, if that's the cycle, if it's thought, feeling, action, and then it just ends, if you don't begin with the thought and focus on what are the thoughts that you're producing, the whole cycle's, poisoned. It's not just be what you want it to be because you're not using the thoughts that you want to use. You're using either somebody else's or some conflicted, weird, swirled up version of what you think you are. Yeah.
Right. Because I realized everything that we ever have on this plane of existence has come from a thought. Someone has took their time to think it through. They captured it from the ethers and they brought it into existence here.
Yeah, KB and I got open the thoughts pretty deep on the last one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That got pretty intense. There's
what happened?
On the last podcast, we were talking about thoughts and, well, really the inner voice and how, like, basically those are those thoughts within. And man, it's just like they're so important, and what you choose to feed and project into the world is going to shape everything around you, man.
I like that word you used. You said feed. Exactly. So you can choose to feed something or you can choose to let something starve. And when you let it starve, it has no more sustenance. You're not giving it nutrients. And eventually it can't exist because your attention your attention is the very thing that's giving it energy. So if you take your attention away, because you are the consciousness, so you're giving it energy. When you take your attention away, it can no longer exist for you because you took your attention away. You're no longer aware of it.
Right.
Everything always exists. So if you start focusing on it again, it becomes real again because we're in a sea of everything. It's infinite. So you get to decide like where you're going, what you're feeding, what you're going to let starve. So I feel like the importance of like growing is deciding like, what am I going to feed at the end of the day? What vision, short-term vision, long-term vision, what am I feeding? Like, where am I going? And
that plays directly into growth. And
it really does.
Whether you are going to grow or not, because I mean, it's a choice. It's a choice. What you want to think and what you want to do, and if you choose to make the same decisions every day that make you unhappy and get frustrated, you're never going to leave that space, and you're never going to quote unquote grow. I mean, it's not some objective thing like, oh, we're all growing as a group, yes, but growth for me and growth for you is clearly different. So you need to make decisions for you that you do what you need to do to grow.
Because we all have different things we need to learn too. So that's why growth would be different. And I feel like too, like you said, like someone's repeating a cycle. What's going to happen is you're going to go through a challenging event that allows you to see the error of your ways, and then you can choose, hey, am I going to take this moment of illumination and wisdom and use it? Or am I going to keep staying in that cycle of the same choices and the same, that same pattern?
What a great point.
Like that's hard too, because people get stuck in that. So and then
Yeah.
once they realize that, hey, I'm in this vicious cycle, but then they go back into it. Now every day they're like, oh, I could be doing more, but I'm just not going to. Instead of it being just oblivious, like, oh, this is my life. This is how life used to be. That's how I thought it used to be. Like I'm like, this is just how I am. That I'm unfortunately I'm not in that position to be over here, but that's
Yeah.
okay. But then one day I was like, wait, maybe I can get out of it. So that's hard to like stick someone and say, hey, you should change. And it's like, now work out every day. Don't eat junk food. Like I went cold turkey. I went like straight.
Yeah.
I don't recommend that
But
for
you had
anyone.
a massive motivation that like
Exactly.
you
I had
had
this
this big-
giant fire.
All those challenges.
Yeah.
Challenges.
But not everyone
Like,
can
why
do that.
can't stay here? Fuck that. Like those and that's why I said like it would be voluntary or involuntary. And sometimes it has to be involuntary and you go through all these challenges and you think the world hates me, the universe hates me. No, the universe saying, stop choosing this. I'm responding to you. Because life is responding to you. It's a dance. So it's like
it really is a dance.
yeah.
Even if you don't believe in like the universe is treating me this way or like God's doing this to me, and you just think about like my life sucks. I don't like the hand that I was dealt. I'm not as lucky as this guy.
You better play that card. You better play that hand. And when your turn comes, draws another card when you put one down. Like
Just keep drawing cards. That's all. That's the only game you can play. If you don't like the cards you have, keep drawing. Like
yeah.
get out there and look for some new cards. There's plenty of them.
Right. Keep progressing.
Interesting too about the whole God. I used to believe in God so much, but I used to believe in him as in like somebody who would like help me out and do something for me.
Oh,
So I'd
yeah.
always like pray and wish for things, right? I was like, give me this, give me that. And then one day, you know how people have that moment where they found Jesus, found God? This is when I realized God wasn't there. I had my day where I was like, I went, it's like I envisioned in my head, like I went up to the steps, and I was like, I'm going to see God today. And I opened the door and nobody was there. And in that day, I realized, and this was actually pretty young too, that instead of me wishing for things to happen, I have to go make things happen. And so from that day forward, I became like an atheist. But now I'm a little bit more like, I'm an atheist still. But like,
I know what you mean, but the fact that you were wise enough to just realize things like that on your own, not necessarily like just to be able to go, everything I thought was wrong right there on the spot.
Yeah.
And then make a change. Like that's pretty rare.
And actually, ever since that day, I always ask myself, maybe I'm wrong. Like, what I'm saying or what I'm learning or what I'm watching, maybe it's not right. So let me go find out other things that can prove it wrong.
Yeah. Questioning it.
What if I'm wrong? Yeah.
Knowledge, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also too, I feel like we've had this ideal of God, and that's the thing. God is a thought form that has been given to you because it's a name, and I won't get too deep in the root of God.
Stay with the growth. Stay with growth.
I won't do that, but but God is just like a term, and it so like it's a term,
Yeah, it's not. It is whatever people make it to be in their head.
Yeah.
Right.
At the end of the day, make it work for you and keep growing.
You know what's interesting?
Don't expect things to happen for you.
Well, if you think about it though, because you believe in God, and so if everything acts based on belief, the things will happen. But do you really believe what you think God would do for you? That's the thing. You have a belief in God, but you place that power outside of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't realize that you and God are like looking through the same vantage point. But God's fire because God wants you to learn your power, how to control your mental body, your emotional body, being a creator. Because that's what you are.
To truly grow, it has to come from within. Because you can grow in two ways, physically and mentally. You can look good outside, but that is someone else push you to like wake up early, work out. But then there's a person inside who needs to grow, who needs to believe
If they leave you.
So where do you start? If you're sitting at home right now, or if you were sitting back, looking at your old self, crying in the closet, punching the shower, hotel, like where do you start? Because I know it was obviously a long time ago, but where do you begin to think to start changing your mind? Because if you jump into, I'll change my life, and then the next day you don't do it, and you get stuck in this loop of like, I'm trying to get out, and I just keep drowning.
Yeah.
Like, where do you need to start?
You can't try. You just
try. Yeah.
It just depends on who you are. Because for me, it was more about me letting go that it's okay that people don't like me or that I'm not living up to other people's standards. And I think a lot of my anxiety, my insecurities, me being shy was about me not living up to what people thought. Like I thought I had to be a certain way. So if I didn't say a joke right or say something right, then I failed or something. And that they would look at me and be like, "You're not one of us. You're not part of us." So it's either be quiet or try to say something. And there was occasions where I'll try to say something, people would be funny, and I'll be like the little like nerdy kid, like yes.
Yeah. When you make people laugh and you're like, oh yeah.
And I did it, but like it was still awkward and it was just like uncomfortable because I wanted everyone to like me. I wanted to have the attention of other people. And then I just started being like, I don't really care. It still happened. Like actually, as the years went on, I slowly realized like, oh, I'm growing, but like I'm still caring about what people think. So let me grow beyond that. And then I'll still mess up and I'm like, all right, let me grow beyond that. So like this moment's just to grow, but like for me, it was like I had to let go of the opinions of other people. I had to let go that I might not be liked by people, and that slowly helped me like let go of like. I'm okay if someone calls me an ass. So I'm okay if somebody says like I'm too outgoing, or I'm okay that I'm going to this direction, chef, instead of going to college. Like I'm okay that people don't like what I'm doing. I'm not. Nobody's gonna kill me. I'm not gonna be like ostracized. I'm just this is who I am. And if you don't like it, leave. I've started to become more confident. Like this is just who I am. Accept it. And that was hard for me. I was always dependent on other people, dependent on my parents, dependent on situations around me to like keep me secure.
Well, because the situation around you is constantly pushing and pulling on trying to control.
Definitely is.
Yeah. I think I just didn't want to be out of my comfort zone. I literally wanted everything easy for me. I just wanted to sit there and not deal with the world.
It's comfy there.
It is.
It is very comfy. It's nice. It's plush.
Yeah.
It's soft. You know,
like why leave? But like.
Because
like
at
dark
the end
black
of the
hole,
day,
so like it's not going to be cushy forever.
You become stagnant.
Yeah.
You become stagnant, and it's great on that couch. But when you try to get up, eventually your body accumulated so much mass because you're not active. You know, so it's like
when you let the energy kind of go docile, it's kind of hard to wake it back up. So you're kind of playing with fire there and letting yourself get super comfortable, but then not wanting to re-energize and go back out.
I wouldn't use the word hard. I would use it would take dedication to bring it.
Yeah.
Which is really hard for people, though. Some people really struggle with being dedicated.
It's challenging for people, yeah.
You know what's crazy? I think my stubbornness and my rebelliousness is the reason why I had like insane discipline and motivation when I started. Because my mom was against everything. When I tried to work out, she was like, "You can't work out today." Like she would like prevent me from working out. I was like, I'm going to work out. I'm going to read. I am going to be the best I can be because I'm tired of you like telling me what I can't do. I think that's why I had like this huge fire. Because like nowadays, like my fire isn't as strong as it used to be, and I'm like, why? I'm like, oh, it's because nobody's really saying no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that.
That's a huge motivator for me too.
So like, yeah.
Tell me I can't do it. I'm gonna go do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, let me show you then.
Yeah.
Like, I got you. Okay.
Which is weird because I feel like a lot of parents are wanting you to grow. They want your kid to grow super bad. You know, I want you to become this person, but they have their own vision of your growth.
Yes.
And then when you're, you know, conscious enough and old enough to make your own decisions, like, how are they supposed to tell you what you want to do? Yes, they should help you steer. You know, don't end up in jail or something ridiculous. But everyone's got their passions. Let each other do what each other needs to do to be happy. There's so many depressed people out there that are searching for themselves and want to know how to grow and struggling to find those things that make them happy. And it's because they have all these people around them that say something, and then they're not mentally strong enough to go and deflect that and say, no, this is still me, blah, blah, blah. And with people not being on the same page with this, that's why I love talking to you guys about it, because we get to kind of get onto the same page. I wish we had a podcast with the whole damn world and just kind of come to a conclusion on, like, we can't be doing this to each other because people need help. And some people that need help need you to be that person that helps revive them and give them energy.
Right.
Get them.
And that's what I posted today on my Instagram. I posted a quote by Asata Shakur. And there's a line in that quote that says, we must love each other and we must support each other. Like, and the only thing, and she ends it and she says, the only thing we have to lose is our chains. And I feel like that's the most important thing that you said, like, really support each other and love each other and realize that we're both growing and trying to go forward. in life. Like we're all growing and trying to go forward in life. So if you come from that understanding, like how can I uplift you? How can I empower you? And that's what I realized. There's either two type of people, empower or disempower. And so I realized, which one do I want to be, an empowerer or disempowerer?
So I have a question. So what if you don't want to grow? What about the people that don't, that literally you can ask them, you know, they're listening to this and saying, why do I need to grow? I'm perfectly happy where I am right now.
Then maybe it's not the opportunity or the time for you to choose to go to the next level in your life. So you're not choosing growth right now. You're choosing to just cruise and flow where you are right now. And that's definitely fine. Because if it works for you and it's yes for you because it works for you, then yes, keep doing that. But if it's no and it's not working, then what's something new that you can choose, you know? So that's what you have to ask yourself.
To improve on. But that's also like a dangerous little game you can play, is like, I constantly need to get better and better. I need to keep growing. I'm not ever good enough. Like it's a fine line between becoming the person you want to be, but at the rate that makes sense and doesn't like destroy you. And,
so now you have to ask yourself, where are you coming from? Where does that thought come from? I'm not moving fast enough. I'm not getting there fast enough. Why are you thinking like that?
Yeah.
Why do you have that idea? Who told you that it needed to take this amount of time or that amount of time? Who told you that? Where did you get that idea, you know? So you start realizing, like, I have to break down my perceptions. I say unlearn. There's a lot I'm still unlearning. Like, I'm definitely unlearning depending on other people to make a choice. Like, because I used to have to always be like, so I used to get on the phone, I'm like, do you think I should do this? Do you think blah, 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 blah? Is that okay? And then I realized, like, I'm running it by people because I don't trust my own judgment.
Yeah.
And but I had to ask myself, why am I doing that behavior? So I traced it back. Action, which was the behavior. Why am I doing this action? What did I feel towards this action? What made me believe it? And now here's the thought. And so now I uproot it. That's why I say the inner garden, you know? So you change it and you replace another thought. So if you don't want yourself to depend on the ideas of other people, then you need to have your own ideas. You need to have your own value system and principles.
Right.
And if you do, you realize that everything that is for me, this is what I tell myself. If it's for me, it's for me. I can't lose it. But if it's not mine, I don't want it. So whatever that happens, whether it's in business, love, if you're fighting me on it, I don't want it. It shouldn't be this hard.
Yeah.
So go on. You just keep on to the next. So I realized that I have to have my principles and my values in check for myself, my own code of conduct of how I behave on each level of my being. And once you do that, and once you have that understanding of who you are, like I said, you got to know who you be. A lot of us are walking around because we don't know who we be. So if you're not a cheater, don't cheat.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not a cheater, don't cheat. If you don't steal, don't steal. So who are you? You know, if you're a teacher, you teach. So who do you be? You know, be who you are. But you can't say that I'm who you are, but you're doing the opposite. No, that's not who you be. So who you be.
And we all tend to. Oops, sorry, I dropped the mic.
But to the internal.
We all tend to kind of, you know, at some point or another, stray from what you know you should be doing.
Absolutely.
And what the environment around you leads you to end up doing, right?
Right.
But in the end, I feel like if you're on the good side of the coin most of the time, you probably feel pretty good, and you can afford a few losses here and there, or quote unquote losses, really just distractions or whatever you want to call them. But,
or just lessons, you know, however. But I feel like
it's to be found there if you want to, if you really think about it. When you enter those distractions, like say you end up going to a party instead, you know, you're hanging out with a bunch of friends instead of meditating every day like you said you were going to do. And so you skip meditation, you go to this party. But if you're at the party and you're thinking, damn, I really should be meditating, this is my fault, I shouldn't have done this. That's not necessarily a growth mindset, because if you're in that situation, you made the decision for a reason. You didn't just maybe you got coerced into it, but you could have said no. You know, you could have. So you ended up at the party. So grow there. Get more
Yeah.
social. Have fun.
Yes.
Figure out
Exactly.
what to grow in
There.
the
Yeah.
situation that you're in, because
Mhm.
I feel like you can grow in every situation. It's really just choosing what you're thinking about.
Not only that, but you bettering yourself should be like practice training for life itself. So like meditating is preparing you to be able to be focused in people's conversations at the party. That way, like, I got you, I understand. I'm
Now
focused
put it to
on.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, there shouldn't be
It
like, oh,
calms
I'm not
the
using it.
chatter.
Like, yeah, this is like all the meditation practice I did is
Yeah.
for this moment right here. That's what you should be thinking.
See,
Like,
sometimes I feel like I did this too. Like I place so much power in meditation, and I forgot that meditation is a tool. You know, it's not the source of my strength. The source of my strength is the very consciousness that I am. Meditation is just a tool to get me better, you know, and it strengthens my awareness. Because when I calm the chatter of my mind, I can better see everything else that's going on internally. Thus, I can be present outwardly too, you know. So if you're clear inside, you can be more clear outside.
also,
So go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's no point system at the end of the game. You're not gonna get a reward for being like, oh, you meditated every single day, or oh no, you're not gonna make it in because you didn't make. Yeah,
You
it's
didn't
like
Think about why you're doing it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day,
It's
you're
the
not
goal
you're
of
doing it for a purpose. Usually, you make a
Yeah.
decision for a reason.
Yeah.
Think about that reason when you sit there and you're looping through whatever thought's driving you crazy.
So now you're at this party and you're mad, like you're like, I should have meditated. But are you wanting to meditate because you feel like, oh, I miss meditation. I wish I would have meditated. I would have been more comfortable there. That's one way to be like, okay. Or do you feel like you're missing, like you're guilty about it? You have to feel where you're coming from the source of I should be meditating. Are you coming from a place of I want to? That's what I should have did because I wanted to actually do that. I shouldn't let them coast me into going to the party. Or is it because I feel guilty that I'm actually at this party when I agreed to meditate? You know, so what place are you coming from?
That's
And
a
once
good
you
point.
realize that why you are having this inner chatter and this
Then you
inner,
can approach it logically.
yes,
And
you
grow
can-
from it.
exactly. You can grow from it because you realize at the beginning of this conversation, you realize that that very thought that you're having about being at the meditation is a thought of consciousness based on what you've been doing in your life. It's just a random thought. You can choose to look past it, but you got engaged by that thought because you had an emotional connection to it. So therefore, the thought couldn't just bounce off you and keep going. It got stuck to you.
Yeah.
And Alan Watts, I heard y'all mention that when I went to the restroom earlier. Alan Watts always said that. He says, I love it because it was so profound. I remember I was in my garden and he says, you got to be stickyless. And once he said that, I was like, that makes so much sense because he was talking about in terms of mind, when we're listening to all this mental chatter happening, like you're at the party and you should be enjoying the party, but now you're thinking about meditating. Instead of you letting that thought roll off, you got caught up into it because you had a feeling about it. And so therefore you had that emotion going around in your inner world.
Yeah.
And that thought came, and instead of being able to just let it pass, it got stuck to you because it had something attracting. So feeling is the attracting force. Once you realize that, you will realize that I can switch.
It's where you direct your attention.
Of these ideas. Yeah, I can correct my attention. I can correct my perception. I can correct my memories. I can correct the things I do habitually once I start realizing all of that, you know. And that's what I thought.
It honestly sounds like why choose to grow, you know, if we were to kind of summarize, one, choose to grow because you need to forgive yourself and go after the life you want to live.
Yeah.
Say, just let go of the past. Like you said, drop the baggage. Enjoy Crete or wherever you were.
Yeah.
Just enjoy life in a way that makes you happy.
Enjoy where you are right now.
If you made a mistake, if you feel like you ruined the whole first half of your life, you got time. And if you die next year, you won't even know anyway. So at least give it the best you got now.
Yes.
And then,
that's well said, bro.
And then another point, you know, so, you know, forgiveness, okay, great. Like, get your mental state in a good place to now take action.
Right.
But then, what was the other thing you were saying, Moses? Oh shoot, I just had it.
The emotional, the swirling, the stickuless.
Sticky list, yes, sticky list. Like,
So you practice that.
stop directing your attention to these things that are external. Your
Mhm.
mind is in your head. Keep
Yeah.
it in your head. Make it your mind.
Mm-hmm.
These external things are meant to be processed, not
Yeah.
not literally taking control of you. Pick and
Okay.
choose.
Yeah.
Understand what you're
Okay.
thinking.
Yeah.
And a third thing I was thinking about was the why. You guys keep saying when I made the decision to grow, I kept asking myself, why do I feel this way? Why can't I live this life? And then you logically come to the conclusion of, well, it's because I'm not making those decisions. I'm
Right.
not literally thinking I'm doing this for a reason. I'm just doing and getting pushed around by life left and right, and wherever I end up, and so I go cower into my hole and feel comfortable for the next hour because I'm not comfortable anywhere else. So,
Exactly. And so
guys,
now you have
questioning why, honestly. That's my big.
exactly. And then you have to have the desire, to
Yeah.
want to know why. Because if you don't ask the question, you'll never get the answer.
Yeah. And how do you get that desire though? It
Hmm?
should be within you. I feel like everyone has a desire to do something.
But I feel like it's innate, not only just to do something, but I feel like you naturally enjoy doing things. But I feel like we put so much stuff around the things that we enjoy because we have to earn a living, we have to be able to provide for ourselves and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot
So
of
we
stress in the world.
we are less enjoying and more about orchestrating our livelihood.
Mhm.
But when you realize like the power of your mind and things like that, you can step back and realize like, what do I really want about and you start asking these questions, and you can step back and say, what do I really want to experience in my life? Like I started to ask myself, like, why am I even here? Like
Mhm.
seriously, like before I like engaged in being aware of this object called Moses
Mhm.
as from a space of consciousness.
I feel like you speak in person inside your head
I always
to
do.
yourself.
But
Sorry, go
so before I came into awareness of this object called Moses, what was the purpose of like how did I see things?
Mhm.
Like what was I was gonna come here and do? And so I started like when I started answering those questions, I was expecting answers. And for me, I'm in tuned, and I have beliefs that not only are we human beings, we are beings being human, which makes us spiritual, and things that you're not always seeing, but there's consciousness all around you. And so I feel like there are guides here that know me very innately. And so I am always, when I'm directing a question in my heart or in my mind, I'm directing it to them because I know that where attention goes, energy flows. So if I'm focusing on someone I call my guide, they will get that energy because I'm focusing on them. So I ask them questions like, me, nigga. Like, tell me what's up. That's how I talk.
You
Like,
know
we're
me.
friends. That's how I talk to the
This is
universe.
me.
The universe have watched me in my years when I was younger and adolescence do things that wasn't really healthy for me. Knows me intently, like saw me watch tons of porn. So it's like, why would I be embarrassed to talk like a friend to something that knows me probably more than I know myself
Yeah.
in some aspect,
Scary to say, but yeah, honestly.
So like it just becomes like you have to find your own rhythm, and when you find your own groove, it comes from that why, I believe. Like you were
It's like,
saying.
and it's pretty logical. Nothing you guys are saying is like it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah. But I
was inspired one day. It was like, no, it's very
No.
logical. You felt
it was a
really bad.
progression.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't feel comfortable with really anything you were doing. Constantly trying to like correct yourself and be somebody else,
Right.
and then you got to a breaking point. Literally, like broke down, both of you. I mean, same with me. I broke down and realized like I've been going down this path for what reason? Just because. This wasn't because I chose to. Just this is where I am. This is where I ended up.
I was proud of
on out.
that.
Yeah. From here on out, I'm gonna try my best to direct the life into the. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go go where you want to go, not go where others want you to go, or make decisions based off of who knows what.
Yeah.
Honestly,
The Life of Mason by Mason.
fact. I'm gonna write a book with that title.
Do
Yeah.
it.
I'm not ready yet. I'm thinking when I'm like,
Don't worry, I'll publish it for you when we're ready.
there we go. We shall co-write a book. It'll be crazy.
Let's do it. I'm doing one right now.
Things
Yeah?
will happen.
Yeah.
What are you writing about?
Cool.
It's a fiction book. It's about. It's a
fiction.
long thing.
Oh,
I can go
It's
on for
actually
hours.
really good, Mason. It's
Yeah.
really-
Give me just a little bit, bro.
All right. So
Tell me the name.
the name is called at the moment. It's called Miracle Light. It's been like that for a long time, but we might change it. But yeah, the Miracle Light, and it's basically about all these people who were kind of like. They weren't even heroes. They were just random people in the world who had certain moments in their life to make a difference, and they just didn't. They failed to do it, so they felt like failures because it caused the whole world around them to go into complete disarray. Like this world, the normal thing is being like bad, evil, doing criminal activities, whereas being good is actually seen as being like abnormal. Like, why are you being a good person? Like, nobody's nice to each other. And so then these people have to somehow come together, get over the differences, and try to make a difference in the world. And there's a part in the book where they try to do that, and then it actually ends up not really working out. So they're like, why are we even doing this? They ask themselves why, and then they go on and do the thing again. So the book is mainly like trying to figure out what is your why, redeeming yourself, and like it's okay to fail, and you can come from your failures and do
That's
something.
a big one.
better.
It's okay to fail. It's
Yeah.
okay to mess up and hate your life. That's okay, but move on.
Mhm.
Keep going. Grow.
Exactly. That's what I want my story to tell. While also like it's like a cyberpunkish but like Mad Max type world.
Oh, I already got the cyberpunk vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
I
like
can
that's-
picture it. I can picture it.
Yes, it's really I feel like it's important though for like people who are progressing and people who are listening to this. If you want to go forward in your life, you just have to ask yourself right now, like where you are you okay with it? If today was your last day, would you have any regrets? Like, and I feel like that's a powerful question to ask yourself because you realize that, oh shit, it gets real. And so you realize that there's a dash. I was here and now I'm gone from this time. So it's like, what are you
entire
gonna do
mindset
between the
changes.
dash?
Right?
Yeah, so what are you gonna do in between the dash? And so I realized for me, I was like, I want to make my dash like, I want to make my shit. I want to make it dance. I want like when you come when you read my when I sit in my rocking chair at the end of my life, I want to be able to tell my story like, hey, this is what happened, and this is how I got through it, and and I live my life.
Be proud that you grew every day. I think I want to kind of close on that point too. Is growing is you said it yourself, is a daily action. It's a daily phenomenon. People don't get caught up. You know, I've done this to myself. I know people that have done this, where you have a bad day and you feel like you kind of ruined your growth. Like that day went crappy, and you're like, oh man, my life's been like this all along, and you're having a bad day. It's okay. You know, it's take the next day, improve on the day before, and just be better every single day, and you will grow, quote unquote. You know, and that will be another quote growth, right? So,
guys,
Beautiful.
choose growth, choose to be your best self, and we're always here supporting you guys. You know, comment down below.
what else is there to choose? Shit.
Let us know how are you choosing growth and what are you committed to making 2021 be best for you. I almost told you guys another dimension. No, I'm just kidding. But what would you make 2021 be for you?
It really would be awesome to like hear some of you guys' stories on how you've grown and gone through some shit that you really didn't think you'd get out of, and now you're where you never thought you would be. So thank you guys. Moses, KB, I learned a lot about you today. I love it.
Yeah.
We're gonna be learning a lot about each other. Honestly,
this series is gonna be wild. KB.
Wait, hold on.
Don't close it yet.
Oh,
no,
okay.
don't close it yet. I was about to say, because we always ask our guests to give a quote. So
I was about to ask you guys.
Yeah. So we each should do A
All
quote.
right, all right.
Whatever comes to your mind.
Spin the bottle, KB.
So
We got a
something like,
billboard, boy. We got a
all
billboard
right.
up there. I want
What?
you to tell me what is on that billboard. I'm in my spaceship. I'm flying by. I look over to my right. I see the Earth. I'm like, wow, so beautiful. Then I see a billboard above it.
So strangely, this is the one thing that comes to my mind. It's okay to be sad, which is weird because it's not really positive, but it's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel those emotions because then that allows you to then find the strength to grow into a place of happiness.
That's too long. Can't put that on the billboard. It's really
It's okay
good.
to be sad. My bad. All right. But yeah.
I guess I'll go.
Yeah,
You wanna
Moses,
go,
what's
Dave?
up?
Okay. You know, I think in life you have to appreciate the valley moments and the mountain peak moments because they both are balancing each other. Because if you didn't have high, what would you know about low? If you didn't have good, what would you know about bad? You wouldn't. If it wasn't light, you would never know anything about it being dark. So you have to understand that there's a dance. And so jump in, join the groove, find your rhythm, and enjoy life. That's
I love that too, man. That's fucking great. All right, somebody asked me.
Mason,
Mason.
what is your billboard, the one that's in space that the whole entire universe can see?
Life is short, and sitting in sadness is never worth it.
I like it. I like it. You can progress.
I'll probably say it faster, but
You can do it, and I'll just
it
edit
have a
it.
lot of dots in it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You can cut us out, KB.
Yeah. Wait, and to leave it off with one quote from one of the people I looked up to. His name's Tony Horton. I used to do Piano X all the time. He says, "Do your best and forget the rest."
Ooh. Speaking of best, there's a quote that I love and I live by every day. I actually just said it yesterday. But it's by Steve P. Fontaine. And he's a runner. So I'm a runner too. So he says to give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift. So I want to ask you, are you out there sacrificing your gifts by giving less than your best? Check yourself. Don't wreck yourself.
Welcome back to Earth. I hope you've enjoyed your journey.